everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do your weekly angel card reading for Monday, May 20th through Sunday, May 26th, 2019. For this week's weekly reading, we'll be using the Fairy Tarot deck by Radleigh Valentine for the main message for everyone. Your special message card this week, depending on your stone of choice, will be coming from the Messages from the Light by Joyce Huntington. Okay, so let's start by taking a look at your stones of choice this week. Your first stone of choice is this beautiful tiger eye. And tiger eye has this beautiful brown but yet golden color within it. And the tiger eye is a stone of protection. It's actually considered also a stone of good luck. It brings mental clarity and focus. And it helps to bring resolution to situations. And this, of course, would relate to the root chakra or the base chakra, that chakra that deals with our sense of being grounded and focused, just like the stone describes. And then your second stone of choice is blue Cal Sidonie. And this blue Cal Sidonie, of course, would relate to the throat chakra. It's got that color of that light blue throat chakra color, so speaking one's truth. The blue Cal Sidonie is a stone that's calming and peaceful and healing and balancing. It helps to relieve negative emotions, and it actually helps to bring a sense of happiness and joy into one's life. And then your last stone of choice is tree agate. And the tree agate is this beautiful green stone, although it's on a background of white. So it kind of has that idea of nature and the tree, which is why it's called tree agate. And this is going to relate to the heart chakra. This is where our emotional body is, how we feel. This is also the chakra that deals with the healing of relationships. But the tree agate itself is a lot of times considered a talisman in India. So a talisman or a stone of good luck in India. It helps with calming the nerves and bringing inner peace. It's great to facilitate meditation. And it helps to bring your focus to the idea of the oneness of all, which is kind of the same as saying that it helps to bring our focus to the idea of universal awareness, or that we're all one. So again, your stones of choice are the tiger eye, the blue Cal Sidonie, or the tree agate. So we're going to start by talking about the astrology for the week. And there's not a whole lot of major things going on, but on Tuesday the 21st is when we have the sun moving into Gemini. And whenever I think of Gemini energy, I think of the fairy realm. The Gemini energy to me astrologically is like connecting with the fairies in the fairy realm, which is why I use the Fairy Tarot deck this week. And so with the sun moving into Gemini for the next month, it brings that kind of light, playful, silly kind of energy, which is that Gemini energy. Gemini, of course, is a sign of the mental realm. It rules our thoughts, our ideas, our communications. So all of those things are going to be highlighted for the next month while the sun's in Gemini. On the same day that the sun moves into Gemini, Mercury moves into Gemini. So both the sun and Mercury is the planet that rules our thoughts and ideas and communications. The sun, of course, is the ruler of our identity or personality or how we shine our light. So we have both of these planets moving into Gemini. Now, the sun's going to be, of course, there for about a month, which it always is at this time of the year. Mercury is going to be in Gemini for probably about 3 weeks or so. It's going to kind of zip through this sign, but we're going to have a good 3 weeks of this light, fun-filled, joyous, fairy-like Gemini energy. Now, Gemini also vacillates. It has a tendency to kind of vacillate from one thing to another. It's very mentally curious. It lacks kind of a focused energy. It's not very grounded. It's not very focused. And it flits from one thing to another. And so Gemini has a hard time following through on things. This is a time where we're juggling lots of things, or we're putting our hands in many baskets, so to speak. We're wearing many hats. or we lose interest really fast. Gemini tends to get bored really easily, so that's why it kind of flits from one thing or one person to another, is because it needs that mental stimulation to keep its interest, so to speak. Also on the same day, of course, is Mercury connecting with Mercury. So obviously, if they're both moving into Gemini on that day, they're connecting with one another. So it's really going to heighten that idea of lots of ideas kind of flowing through, a lot of communication with other people, a lot of messages coming in. This is like emails and texts and phone messages and networking with other people. So there's just a lot of that verbal kind of or mental expression that's happening. Now, there wasn't anything with major planets connecting for the rest of the week, but on Wednesday, the moon will be moving into the sign of Capricorn. And now we started out the week on Monday, the moon's actually in Sagittarius, which is a nice, bright, fun-filled kind of energy, and the moon on Monday in Sagittarius connects with Jupiter, which kind of expands that energy of inspiration and positivity and optimism. And then, of course, like I said, Tuesday, the Sun and Mercury are moving into this kind of light, fun-filled Gemini. But on Wednesday, and moving into part of Thursday, the moon's going to be in Sirius, Capricorn. And I mention that because it's going to connect with both Saturn and Pluto, which are right now in Capricorn. So this is going to bring kind of an extreme focus to the energy after Monday and Tuesday's kind of lighter energy. So on Wednesday, the moon in Capricorn is much more serious and practical. That's our emotional nature with the moon. Connecting with Saturn, the planet of responsibilities and karmic lessons, and connecting with Pluto, the ruler of transformation and transmuting, lower vibrational energies. And so there might be a bit of a seriousness here on Wednesday that kind of comes in after, like I said, the lighter energy on Monday and Tuesday. And then on Thursday and Friday, the moon is moving into Aquarius, and it's going to be making a positive connection to the Sun and Mercury that have just gone into Gemini. So that lightens things up a little bit more. It's a little more free-flowing after the moon leaves Capricorn and moves into Aquarius Thursday, Friday. Of course, by the end of the week, the moon is going to move into Pisces, and it will then make challenging connection to the Sun and Mercury in Gemini, because Gemini being an air sign, and as the moon moves into Pisces, which is a water sign, those two signs square one another or challenge one another. And of course, when you put air and water together, those elements, air and water, are not as compatible as, let's say, air and fire or water and earth. Those are compatible, but when you put air and water together, there's a little bit more challenge energy going on there. So it's kind of an energy of some ups and downs, I think, during the week. But I'm really excited about the Sun and Mercury moving into Gemini. So let's go ahead and take a look at the message from our angels and guides for the week from the Fairy Tarot deck. So we turn over the first card. Wow, the Ace of Spring. So I'm not surprised. The spring suit in the fairy deck is the fire suit. Or in the traditional tarot, this would be rods or wands. So this is the Ace of Wands or the Ace of Rods or the Ace of Fire. And, this is about new beginnings. The aces are all about new beginnings. And, it's spring, the suit of spring. It has that spring kind of feeling, that fairy kind of feeling. Of course, this is the Fairy Tarot deck, but it's like the beginning of something new, the beginning of a new inspiration, the beginning of a new energy that kind of comes in. Of course, the spring suit or the rods relates to the spiritual realm. The message at the bottom, it's time to take action. It says, be fearless and happily pursue your most treasured dreams. Amazing career opportunities. So I would definitely say that this resonates to Monday and Tuesday, with the moon being an inspirational Sagittarius, connecting with Jupiter, which wants to expand into positive, optimistic, abundant kind of energies or opportunities. And then with the Sun and Mercury moving into Gemini on Tuesday, again, that light communication, idea-oriented kind of feeling here. So the first 2 days of the week, take action, and again, pursue your dreams. And there might be something that comes in the way of some sort of message. It says amazing career opportunities here. So again, with Sagittarius and Gemini, those are the signs of the zodiac that rules information, higher learning, higher, understanding, all forms of thoughts and ideas. So I really feel like pay attention to those first couple of days of the week. There can be some positive new developments or the beginning of something new unfolding those 2 days. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the next card. The next card came out as 2 cards together, so we'll take a look at the first of the 2. Okay, so now we have the Nine of Winter. And the winter suit is the Suit of Swords. The message at the bottom of this one says, unfounded fear, focusing on the worst case scenario, allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. So the number 9 is actually a completion number in numerology. So we're getting to the end of some sort of energy, the completion of a situation, the completion of a relationship, the completion of a way of acting or being or experiencing. But of course the Suit of Winter, the Suit of Swords, is that mental realm. It's our mental body of how we think and how we communicate within our own mind. And the 9 here, of course, talks about fears and, don't dwell on those worst case scenarios. So there's something that comes into play midweek. And I would say, midweek Wednesday is when the moon was going to be in Capricorn and connect with Saturn and Pluto. And this really feels like a Saturn-Pluto kind of emphasis here, because Saturn does rule our insecurities. So therefore Saturn can rule our fears and of course ruling karmic lessons and feelings of restriction and limitation. And of course the moon being our emotional bodies, this kind of is bringing there's some sort of fear on an emotional level or insecurity on an emotional level. And of course with the moon and Pluto too, that can bring some heavy duty energies up from the subconscious as well that can feel similarly. Let's take a look at the other card that came out with the Nine of Winter. Maybe it'll give us more information about that energy. Okay, so now we have the Ten of Spring. And the Ten of Spring, again, just like the 9 is nearing the completion phase in the minor arcana of the tarot. We have the major arcana of the tarot, but these 1 through 10 energies in the minor arcana is kind of, like cyclical, like the Ace of Spring that we started out with, the beginning of the week is a new beginning. But when we get to the 9 and the 10, which is back to back here, the 9 of Winter and the 10 of Spring, there's a completion of something that's happening here. So like I said, with the moon connecting with Saturn and Pluto, it perhaps is the completion of some old karmic pattern or some old negative belief system. And we're transforming that. We're getting to the end of that, hopefully, that you're ready to release it and let it go. Now, this is like the 10 of Rods or the 10 of Wands in the traditional tarot. And at the bottom of this one, it says, ask for help from others. All work and no play. And it says, being weighed down by too many responsibilities. And remember, I said that Saturn, that planet that the moon is connecting with on Wednesday, is the planet of responsibilities. And if I didn't say it, then I meant to. So it is. So isn't it interesting here that the message, that there's unfounded fears, not focusing on worry or the worst case scenario. And it says to, don't allow worry to grow out of proportion to any kind of difficulty or challenge or problem. Here we need to ask for help from others. And so whatever's going on there on Wednesday or thereabouts, don't be afraid to reach out for assistance. Don't be afraid to ask someone for help, or maybe even to just listen to what you're going through so that you have a listening ear and somebody to bounce something off of. Don't get weighed down by too many responsibilities or too many burdens. Remember that, whatever's going on, that the time will pass. That situation, that energy is going to pass. It's not going to stay there forever. So, when we have a lot of responsibilities, when we have a lot of things on our plate, a lot of things that we have to take care of, maybe it's home related, maybe it's career related, whatever it might be, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Don't feel like you have to do it all alone. To relieve that burden of the 10 of Spring, that's, how you do it, is to ask for assistance, to ask somebody for help to relieve some of those responsibilities and burdens. And then the last card for the week is Major Arcana number 7 in the Chariot. So, this is interesting. The Chariot in the traditional tarot usually shows a chariot being drawn by two horses, and typically it's a white horse and a black horse, and they're looking in opposite directions and trying to pull the chariot kind of in opposite directions. Now, here I don't see that in the image. Here I see two dragonflies, and in this particular deck, the Fairy Tarot, those two dragonflies to me seem to be looking straight ahead and in the same direction, and they're pulling the chariot. So, this one has kind of a better symbology in that instead of two horses of different colors, the white and the black, meaning our positive ego mind and our negative ego mind, or our belief systems in a positive way of seeing the glass half full versus our belief systems in more of a challenging way of seeing the glass as half empty, kind of doing this tug of war, which again, that Gemini energy that we're moving into is very connected to that tug of war, vacillation, back and forth, not being able to make a decision. But it's a good sign that in this Chariot card that the two dragonflies seem to be on the same page. They seem to be moving in the same direction. They both seem to be looking straight ahead and pulling that chariot forward. And the message at the bottom here of the Chariot says, success that comes from dedication and self-discipline. Success that comes from dedication and self-discipline. Celebrating your accomplishments and being in the spotlight. So I feel like, more than even what it says at the bottom, that first sentence does stand out, where you're dedicated, you're focused, you've got determination and discipline. And that's hard to do when we're in Gemini energy, because again, Gemini wants to vacillate and go this direction and then go that direction and change its mind. But if we can focus, if we can kind of have both of those dragonflies looking straight ahead, we can focus our energy and stay determined and stay on course. And that's what these dragonflies are doing, is they're staying on course to draw that chariot forward. So the metaphor is that in order to move forward in your own life, in a project, in a situation, and whatever is unfolding for you, to kind of stay the course, to kind of make a decision what direction you're going to go and stay on course and move forward with that. Now, the number 7 numerologically, just to throw that into the mix, is a number of contemplation. So it makes me feel like before you make the decision of what direction, before you can find that focus and move straight ahead, is that you're going to need a little time to contemplate. You're going to need a little time to go within, contemplate, meditate upon the options, and also to find a sense of trust and faith. The number 7 is about trust and faith, that you're going to choose the right direction, or that even if you don't, that you'll be redirected eventually to the direction that you're supposed to be going in, because it's all about the faith and trust of that spiritual number 7. Now, the number 7 is a number in numerology that is spiritual, emotional, and mental all at the same time. So it can get caught up in the mental realm of analyzing something or going over and over and ruminating on something. It could get caught up into the emotionality of something, whether for good or not so good. But when it comes down to it, it's a very spiritual number. So if you can connect with your higher soul self or connect with God's source energy universe, it's going to help you to focus your energies in the direction that you want to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at your special message card depending on your stone of choice. So this is the Messages of Light deck, and it's a newer deck. I've used it a couple of times, but it's been a while since I've used it as a special message card. And this one, of course, as I'm shuffling, is kind of sticking up and standing out. So for Tiger Eye people, ooh, I love it, opportunity. Your special message is about an opportunity that's coming in. And I love the picture here. I love the symbology. We have a a woman, or maybe it's even a man. No, I think it's a woman. And there's this spiral of energy. It's like the spiral of energy starts here. It's like seeing the light, having this opportunity coming from the universe, coming from the heavens. And it's coming out and spiraling out into the third dimension until it finally connects with her. And isn't it interesting how the little sparkles here of light are coming around up her hairline, up to her head. So the opportunity to me is this new idea. It's like some sort of new idea, which is an opportunity for you. Now, maybe the new idea is, again, a new direction. Maybe it deals with your life path, your career path. Maybe it's a new project that you're thinking about starting. Maybe it's a whole new, maybe it's a new place to live. Maybe you're thinking about this idea of what if I moved? The opportunity or the idea or the opportunity could be just about anything, but it definitely is something that you should pay attention to. Because with an opportunity, you don't want the opportunity or the time window, the time period to pass you by. When there's an opportunity that presents itself, more often than not, we need to kind of grab at it. Now, it doesn't mean to not necessarily take a moment to contemplate, but it does mean to not take too long of a period of time, because then the opportunity might pass you by. So with this beautiful, universal, God gift blessing, that's coming in, realize that it's an opportunity. And again, I feel like it's going to come through a thought, an inspiration, an idea, an aha moment, okay? All right. For those of you that chose the blue Cal Sidonie, let's give this a little shuffle. And asking the blue Cal Sidonie, and actually this one that was on the bottom, touching my finger, started to raise itself. Celebrate. Okay. So I like the idea of celebration, and I feel like, again, with the moon in Sagittarius on Monday and Mercury and the sun moving into Gemini on Tuesday, I would take one of those 2 days, or both of those days, to come into an energy of celebration. Now, it might be something that you have to celebrate. It might be something that's going to be happening this week that's going to be able to be celebrated, like a feeling to celebrate something. But also I'm getting the message that you should just kind of like step into or merge into the energy of celebration, because that by itself is going to make something happen. It's going to, like the co-creative power of you using your mind and your heart too, because to me celebration is coming from the heart energy of joy and happiness. It's the combination of that is going to create something and manifest something. So again, it could be one of two things. Either there's something that occurs this week to where it's like, yay, I'm celebrating, there's a blessing that's coming in and it's time to rejoice. Or again, take Monday or Tuesday, and maybe it's both, take Monday or Tuesday to step into and merge with the feeling of celebration. Maybe to do a little, ceremony for yourself, or dance out in nature, or whatever it is, just to kind of move into this celebratory kind of energy, like, thank you, universe, for the blessings that are coming into my life, even if you don't know what they are yet. Because if you do that ahead of time, it's going to create, and you can see kind of this showering down of the blessings. And maybe the blessings are coming and she's celebrating, or maybe she's celebrating and then the blessings are coming down. But either way, that energy is going to help you co-create something very beneficial in your life. All right, and then for those of you that chose the tree agate, okay, so giving this a little shuffle. And this one is actually calling my attention. Oh, good card, abundance. Okay, so the abundance card. This is almost looks like the Ace of Cups. And of course, here we have the Ace of Spring, which is the Ace of Fire. But, this could even be the Ace of Fire, because it's got this little orangey kind of fiery energy coming out of the cup. But this is like the new beginning of the blessing. Again, abundance, prosperity, blessings, it kind of all goes in the same category. And to me, looking like the Ace of Cups, it's the beginning of something new. And because it looks like the Ace of Cups, but yet it has that fiery kind of feeling here, and we already did have the Ace of Fire or the Ace of Spring to start out the week, I want to say combine the heart energy of the Ace of Cups, because that's our emotions. The Ace of Cups rules the emotional realm, the heart chakra energy. Combine that with this spiritual energy of fire, the spiritual energy of creation. Fire is creation. And so if we combine the heart with the spirit, this is where the abundance is going to come from. This is where the prosperity is going to come from. This is where, the manifestation of blessings are going to come from. So all of these message cards this week were very, very positive, to back up kind of an up and down week, but with mostly a positive message. So look for the opportunities, celebrate, and welcome in the abundance that seems to be coming into your life. I hope you've all liked this weekly angel card reading. I want to thank all of you for subscribing to my YouTube channel to watch my weekly and monthly readings and my soul reflection videos. I want to thank you all for commenting and sending your positive messages. I really appreciate all of the support that you give me in all of the ways that you give it to me. Thank you for following me on Facebook. Thank you for visiting my website. I send you all lots of love and light and many, many angel blessings.